Go ahead.
Resolution 525-9, a resolution accepting the bid of Robert Roberts LLC for the Juvenile Court Addition Project amounting to $2,152,964 for Hamilton County Juvenile Court and authorizing the county mayor to sign any contracts necessary to implement this resolution.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Mars, any comments you'd like to add?
Sam Mars, Juvenile Court. Commissioners, this is about accepting a bid from Robert Roberts to add 1,936 square feet of building to the juvenile court. That space would contain 3 conference rooms, 2 ADA compliant bathrooms, and move the front of the building out to improve the security apparatus and to remodel 2,705 feet of the existing lobby to support that additional security measures with the front of the building. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
All right. No light, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, moving on. 525-10, please.
Resolution 525-10, a resolution approving a software support and maintenance contract from ESRI Inc. for 1 year beginning June 9th, 2025 through June 8th, 2026 for the Geospatial Technology Department amounting to $116,025 and authorizing the county mayor to sign any contracts necessary to implement this resolution.
525-11, please.
Resolution 525-11, a resolution authorizing the county mayor to sign a grant agreement with a term beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026 in the amount of $201,000 with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Bluff, anything to add?
I just wanted to add, this is our annual grant, no match. I did want to recognize that Mental Health Courts Coordinator Matthew Naylor is here, sitting here behind me. The work of this court is due to the brilliant staff that work on these teams and the leadership of our intergovernmental director, Becca Bohannon. Thank you for your time, and the judges send their regards. They were sitting here, but they had to get back to court.
Great, thank you. Not to discount the brilliant work of those that help secure the grants, Ms. LaBeouf. Madam Clerk, moving on. 525-13.
Resolution 525-13, a resolution authorizing the Office of Emergency Management and Homeland Security to apply for and accept, if awarded, a 2025 Norfolk Southern Railroad Safety First Grant in the amount of $15,000.
All right, pretty straightforward. No lights. 525-14, please.
Resolution 525-14, a resolution to provide funding to Northwest Utility District, Bakewell Utility District, and Hickson Utility District for fire hydrant installation and maintenance, amounting to a total of $125,000 from the Office of Emergency Management and authorizing the county mayor to sign any contracts necessary to implement this resolution.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't see Chief Adams. He's not here, right?
No,
They
sir.
do-
Him and emergency management are at a training conference, Commissioner.
That's right. Mr. Brown, or you or Mr. Roddy, just to confirm that once this is approved next week, should it be approved, that the MOUs with these districts must be signed prior to issuing the funds?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
All right, good enough. Thank you. Commissioner Highlander, you have a question, sir?
This is bond money, not a grant, correct?
Do you want to answer that, Ms. Browner?
No, actually, this is budget money that we budget this in our capital outlay. So-
Okay, thank you.
No further lights? All right, that is nope, one more, forgot. There's one at the bottom. Madam Clerk, 525-17, please.
Resolution 525-17, a resolution authorizing the Southeast Tennessee Development District to apply for a grant administered by the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development for funds from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for disaster relief related to the 2020 Easter tornadoes.
Thank you, ma'am. See no lights. Ms. Bluff, anything to add? No? All good. All right, Mr. Chair, that is the final item for finance.
Okay, we'll move to delinquent tax property, so 525-15.
Resolution 525-15, a resolution accepting the highest and best bid for certain parcels of property acquired by Hamilton County through previous delinquent tax sales and authorizing the county mayor to enter into and execute deeds conveying said parcels to individuals listed herein below.
Okay, should be self-explanatory. It's in your packet. See no lights, no one standing. Okay, so we'll take that up next week. And then 525-16.
Resolution 525-16, a resolution authorizing the county mayor to execute all documents relative to a release and termination of reversionary right and resale provision on property located at 2121 Wilson Street, identified as state tax map number 136MC003, as owned by City of Chattanooga.
Todd, you want to get into this?
Yeah, I'll explain it quickly, Chairman. This is a back tax property that the city requested the commission relinquish our rights on it so it could be part of that Avondale Community Center development. It was not used as part of that development. It sits next to 4 other residential parcels on the corner of Dodson and Wilson. So when we gave it to them to use for Avondale, there was a reversionary clause that basically said if you don't use it for this, it comes back to joint ownership, so we can do something else to dispose of it. They've now requested that they turn it over into their affordable housing initiative. As part of that initiative, they give properties to obviously build affordable housing. And so for them to be able to do that, we have to take out our reversionary clause. There was a question about whether they sell the property as part of housing affordable housing initiative. They don't. It's part of the donation to obviously help with the development of affordable housing.
Okay. Commissioner Sharp?
Thank you, Chairman. Todd, that kind of addresses my question that I had, I believe, about whether or not the city retains ownership of that property, or what's the proposal with that?
Yeah, and we also, there's been a prior resolution that talks about their housing initiative. They give it to a developer that goes through their process on affordable housing. So they actually turn the property over, so it will not be city-owned, but it'll be put up back on the tax roll as an affordable housing. And I believe there's a document that initiative requires relative to how much either they can sell it for and or rent it for. And I can give you that information, but we're basically giving them the property as a back tax property, and they're going to follow their process on their affordable housing initiative.
Yeah, for sure. I want to see that
Yep.
because, I don't know if I've talked about it in this room before, but I've talked about it in several other rooms before, is that the house is a depreciating asset. The property is what appreciates so much. And ultimately pushes people out of entry into housing. So if that property continues to appreciate, that's great for whoever buys a house now in an affordable way. But when they sell it, there's no longer that affordability availability. If I said that right. So I would like to take a look at that before we.
Yeah, I'll make sure you get that info. We actually had this conversation yesterday with our real property that works closely with the Chattanooga Real Property. And we did talk about I think it's like 11 steps or something like that. That's their initiative process. And I'll make sure the commission gets that copy.
Thank you,
But
sir.
that is what they want to use this back tax property for, is that process.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Commissioner Graham?
So this goes into their land bank, right? The land bank for developers to do low-income housing.
It's going into their affordable housing initiative, which
And
I
it's their
believe,
land
yes,
bank
sir,
that
they
they
land
have.
bank it, and then that provides,
So they have really.
Commissioner Smith maybe can
Yeah,
allude.
and Commissioner Smith could probably
But-
enlighten us, but they have really stringent rules and regulations on how they can use that property and how they need to develop low-income housing. So it works out really well.
There is, and there's also restrictions on duration. You can't buy the house and immediately flip it. There's restrictions to ensure that it stays affordable for a duration of time.
Yeah, this is not the first time we've allowed back tax property to go for that initiative. So we have that information. I'll make sure everybody gets it.
Okay. That is all from that committee meeting. So with that, we're finished for the day. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you. Legal?